All the things I've been fortunate to do.
Yes.
This is, I think, the most special thing I've ever had to do.
At 77, Billy Crystal has reached the kind of age where the noise fades, the spotlight feels less important, and the memories start speaking louder than the applause ever did. Born William Edward Crystal on March 14, 1948, in Manhattan and raised on Long Island, he grew up surrounded by the rhythm of show business before he even understood what fame meant. His father, Jack Crystal, was a jazz promoter who worked with legends like Billie Holiday and Duke Ellington, and young Billy would watch these giants drift in and out of his life like magic. But that magic shattered when his father died suddenly while Billy was only 15, leaving him with a grief that never truly left, and a maturity that would later become the hidden heartbeat behind his comedy. He carried that pain into his education at Nassau Community College and later NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, where he sharpened his craft and quietly built the foundation for a career that would one day define American humor. He broke through in the 1970s with Soap, playing one of television's first openly gay characters with a mix of humor and humanity that took courage for its time. Then came Saturday Night Live, where he became a cultural force, and later films like When Harry Met Sally, City Slickers, and Analyze This, proving he wasn't just funny, he was real. Even as he voiced Mike Wazowski for a whole new generation and became one of the most beloved Oscar hosts in history, Crystal never stopped being what he truly was at the core, a storyteller shaped by loss, love, and the need to make people feel something. And that's where Rob Reiner comes in. For decades, people assumed their partnership was simply a perfect Hollywood match, director and actor striking gold. But now, with time behind him and nothing left to prove, Crystal has finally chosen to say what he never fully said before. Not a scandal. Not gossip. Just the honest truth. Because when Billy Crystal talks about Rob Reiner now, it isn't with polished nostalgia, it's with the kind of respect that only comes from having been changed by someone. Crystal admits that working with Reiner wasn't just another job. It was one of the defining experiences of his life. He says Reiner didn't direct the way most directors do. He didn't bark orders or chase punchlines. He chased truth. Reiner understood something most people in Hollywood never learn, that comedy isn't about jokes, it's about character. About vulnerability. About the awkward silence after the laugh. During When Harry Met Sally, Crystal says Reiner pushed him harder than anyone ever had, not with cruelty, but with quiet insistence. He challenged him to dig deeper, to strip away the easy humor and find the emotional nerve underneath. Crystal admits there were days when he wasn't sure it would work, days when tension hung in the air and both of them dug in their heels. But he makes it clear now, the tension wasn't personal. It was creative. They weren't fighting each other, they were fighting for the movie. And looking back, Crystal realizes that kind of friction only happens when two people actually care. Reiner cared enough to push back, and Crystal trusted him enough to listen. But the truth Crystal reveals most clearly now is what people never really saw in Rob Reiner. The public saw the beard, the booming laugh, the confidence. Crystal saw something else entirely. He saw emotional intelligence. A man who listened more than he spoke. A director who knew when to step in and when to step back. Crystal says Reiner had a rare gift. He made actors feel safe enough to fail, safe enough to take risks, safe enough to discover parts of themselves they didn't even know existed. That's why those performances still resonate. That's why audiences still quote those lines decades later. Because what Reiner created wasn't just comedy, it was honesty disguised as entertainment. And in the end, Crystal doesn't speak like a man settling old scores. He speaks like a man finally giving credit where it's long been due. He admits Rob Reiner didn't just help shape a movie, he helped shape him. He taught him that comedy could be romantic, philosophical, even painful, and still be funny if it was true. Crystal says Reiner saw him as more than a comedian long before the world did. He gave him confidence. He gave him depth. And now, at 77, Billy Crystal says the real truth about Rob Reiner is simple but powerful. Some people don't just work with you, they change you. And if you're lucky enough to find one of those people, you don't forget it. You honor it. And that's exactly what Crystal is finally doing now.